Hi, I'm Deborah, and I am a wife of 30 years, a mom of three amazing children. I have had a extensive career in corporate America. I'm an executive. I've had my own business. I am into fitness. I'm a bikini competitor, and I'm also an alcoholic. And that's what I want to talk to you about today is kind of exploring the whole idea of when and how did I become alcoholic? Because I can think back to all of my earlier years and wonder, when did that happen to me? As that might be something that you might be wondering yourself. When did this happen to me? How did this happen to me? Or is this happening to me? I've been sober for 16 years now, and I can tell you that my life would not be anywhere or any form of how it is today if I were still drinking. I'm quite certain I wouldn't still be married. I don't even know if I'd still be alive. So it was definitely a life-changing decision for me. And going all the way back in time, when did this drinking thing first start? So I can remember back into my childhood that my parents would sometimes give me sips of their drinks. And I don't remember how much, how often, how old I was when that started. But alcohol was just kind of like this no big deal part of my life. And my parents did not overdrink. I don't recall ever seeing them drunk. I do recall that one of my aunts said that when she used to babysit me, even as a young toddler, that I think she said she gave me like some sips of wine to calm me down or quiet me down. But, I don't even remember any of that. And like I said, I didn't even drink I wasn't exploring alcohol as a grade schooler or anything like that. I do remember though, in probably 8th grade, I was trying to fit in. I was trying to be more social. And I do remember that I did explore drinking with some of my friends. And I can remember one time going outside at the skating party and drinking. I think we were drinking like Jack Daniels. I mean, what did 8th graders drink? Just whatever they could get their hands on. And I know I got drunk. I can remember throwing up outside. I can remember my friends walking me around the neighborhood, trying to sober me up. And I can remember just thinking, one of the very first times I drank socially, that's what happened to me. I drank to excess, I got sick, and I embarrassed myself. I don't remember really following that up with more behavior like that. So it's not something that I fell into as a middle schooler. When I went into high school, again, I didn't really do a lot of socializing. I certainly didn't hang out with, the kids in my high school. I was kind of a loner. I'm definitely an introvert. So again, I really hung out more with adults. And I can remember I was into dance. And so I spent a lot of my weekends dancing, and I was in shows like Parks and Recreation shows. And of course, that was always an older crowd. And so I can remember kind of my next drinking experience being around in that 16, 17 years of age and going to cast parties. So after the show, we'd have our cast parties, and I would drink at the cast parties. And I can remember always really enjoying that and feeling really good and feeling like, I was just like much more like lit up and more social and more interesting and fun when I was drinking. But again, it's not something I did every weekend. It's not something that I fell into like as a social thing, but I did tend to socialize more with people that were older than me. I didn't date a lot, but when I did date, it was usually with guys that were older than me, not in my school, oftentimes not even in high school. So I can remember the next kind of drinking experience of my life being when I was dating a guy that did have a lot of connections in town, a lot of friends that own restaurants and clubs and bars. And I can remember, again, I think I maybe was 17 or 18 by that time. And I would go with him to these establishments and I would be served alcohol just like I was of age. And so I felt like that drinking, I was very mature about it. It's like, I know how to do it. I'm very mature for my age. I hang out with older people and I don't like go out and party with the young people and just get drunk and do stupid things. I'm doing it in a very mature way. I can also remember kind of backtracking just a little bit that probably in that same time frame, those high school years, I would have drinks at home with my parents. I can remember my mom and I, when we would cook like Thanksgiving dinner, we'd oftentimes just sip on 7 and 7. That was kind of the things. I don't know where that came from, but 7 and 7. And I can remember like going over to my aunt and uncle's house for family gatherings, and I'd walk in the door and my uncle would serve me a drink. And again, I just remember feeling like I was very mature and that people were treating me like I was very mature and that I could really handle all of this, and that it was actually very smart that my parents and my family had introduced alcohol to me in this very safe environment so that as a young adult or young adult, teenager, I wasn't having the urge to go out and explore drinking in these unsafe ways with kids and behind back alleys or in cars and things like that, like I did when I was in 8th grade. So those were kind of my early thoughts and remembrances of alcohol in my life. And still, I wonder, like, it wasn't an everyday thing. I didn't think about it. I didn't go out and drink and hide it. So when did those things change in my life?